Do you want to take control of your health? Hear the truth about dieting and weight loss? Learn the best strategies for maintaining a healthy lifestyle? This is the Yossi Muller Show.
And welcome to the show. I'm Yossi Muller.
And I'm Duddy Muller.
Duddy is a chef with a background in nutrition.
Yossi is a nutritionist with a background in nutrition.
Every show we do, we take another myth and debunk it.
We crush it.
Today's topic is so-called normal food. People think that the food that is available and the way society looks at food and society themselves when it comes to food is normal. A person I'm working with will tell me, I couldn't focus this week, so I just ate normal food.
What's normal food?
Spaghetti, pizza, French fries. Another person I'm working with will say, I'm having a lot of guests this week, so I need to serve normal food.
Not diet food like I eat the rest of the time. Normal food.
And what's normal? Deli roll, lots of challah and dips, cake, and ice cream.
We assume that what everyone eats is acceptable. We assume that what we grew up with is normal or even healthy.
Well, it's certainly acceptable because we need to be part of society. But to consider that to be the norm and healthy food to be different, in other words, when people talk about bread, they say, do you want regular bread or whole wheat bread?
The healthier option is always considered somewhat abnormal.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to address today. Not that you shouldn't be part of society and you shouldn't include certain high-calorie, non-dietetic foods as part of your lifestyle, but we're saying this notion that that's normal, that's not correct.
I know. People consider whatever they are used to be normal.
I had once visited Minneapolis, and someone there had asked me, where are you from? I said, New York. They said, New York?
Ooh.
Is that near Baltimore? And I was like, wow, this is going to be an interesting conversation. I said, not far. We're about 3.5 hours from Baltimore. So he said, were you ever in Baltimore? I said, I was. He said, it's wild. There's an entire supermarket with just kosher food.
Oh, wow.
And there are 2 pizza shops there.
2 whole pizza shops.
2 kosher pizza shops. Because for someone from Minneapolis, that is considered excessive.
He couldn't even imagine that there's something more excessive than Baltimore.
And me coming from New York,
yeah,
obviously found that funny.
Right. Well, in New York, when you have 25 pizza shops holding auctions on Matzah Pesach, when in small towns you don't even have pizza Matzah Pesach, like you don't even know what's normal because you're just used to what you are used to.
And I once visited Houston, Texas for the 2nd days of Sukkot, and during the Aliyah, where they bring up all the children, the Kol Na'arim Aliyah, someone brought out a very big tallis, a 10-foot by 20-foot tallis. And I was sitting there admiring the size of the tallis, and I get a little jab in the ribs from a fellow congregant wearing his cowboy hat and boots and long beard. And he tells me, just so you know, here in Texas, that's a size medium.
Okay. So what you consider excessive is someone else's normal. Why does it matter if people consider these to be normal foods? Who cares?
Because you will end up doing what you consider normal. If you're having a hard day or you're done with the weight loss phase, you're going to end up defaulting to eating whatever foods you consider to be normal.
Yeah, what do I want to eat today? Well, I don't know. I'll just have some pizza. That's what's going to happen.
And also, you will judge your decisions based on comparing it to what you consider normal. So if you consider what everyone else is doing normal, then you're going to go on a diet, not follow it because...
Following a diet is not normal.
Of course not. And also compared to what I could have eaten, I was good. So I might have had a 2,000 calorie salad after you factor in the croutons and the dressing, but compared to what else was on the restaurant menu...
Right, yeah.
I was good. And of course, the scale doesn't care what else was on the restaurant menu.
Why are people wrong for believing that processed food is normal?
Because processed food is a recent invention, and it causes a lot of problems. All types of food-related diseases. It also causes nutrition and nutritionists. The science of nutrition and the entire field of nutrition was only invented to help people cope in a toxic food environment. It would not be necessary otherwise. You probably know about heartburn and sleep apnea. You probably also know about diabetes. But do you know how many people are going to die of heart attacks this year?
How many?
19 million.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know how many people died of heart attacks before nutrition and
This entire toxic environment?
was invented?
How many?
The answer may surprise you. It was 0. The first person to die of a heart attack was in 1925. James Mackenzie from Britain.
Wow. Wait. Really? How do you know that there weren't heart-related or heart attack deaths beforehand, but they just didn't keep a record of it?
I know that because they kept a record of hundreds of other types of deaths for thousands of years, and there are tens of thousands of records of other deaths, and there are even many, many records of people who had heart disease but didn't die from heart attacks, because while you can get heart disease without this toxic food environment, to actually die from it, you need the toxic food environment.
Wow.
You may know about the cost of health insurance. You may know about how this toxic food environment cripples a country's economy. And if you think about it, you may realize how people are less happy because all the enjoyment people have these days is either food or involves food. So you have a choice. You either stay away from the fun or you get overweight. And to demonstrate just how ridiculous the environment we live in is, I have a client that doesn't even like food.
What? How can you not like food?
There are some people who they just don't like food. They'll eat it, meaning they don't want to get headaches. They don't want to feel faint. They know they're supposed to be eating. And she doesn't like food and she's still overweight. Because if you eat the food that's available, you will not be satisfied and you will get hungry and you will need to eat more to not feel faint and not get headaches and have energy. And that's very good proof that the current food environment is completely out of control.
Right. It's not that you like the food, that's why you eat it. You're eating it because your body's craving it, because the food that you're eating isn't giving you the nutrition. It's not filling you.
And there was a story with a girl who had a boo-boo.
Ouch.
And she was at a neighbor's house, and the neighbor was very nice to her and gave her a cookie. And she comes back and sees the little girl with her knee covered with a cookie.
She's an innocent little girl, and she thought that if you give her something because she has a boo-boo, you have a cookie to fix it, so you put the cookie on the boo-boo. You eat it? What is that?
That's drugs.
Yeah, it's a distraction.
Oh, sugar's natural. It's food. You're being cute when you say it's a drug. What do you think drugs are? You think they take it from Mars? They take it from planet Earth and they synthesize it in a laboratory and it has side effects. Sugar is taken from plants from planet Earth and synthesized in a laboratory to create an artificial, highly rewarding, stimulating substance that distracts you from your pain. Sugar is a drug. Look it up. Speak to anyone who knows anything about the brain.
Okay, definitely. Wow.
Back to our discussion of our toxic food environment. Doing whatever you have to do to stick to your food plan is not nuts.
Even though it's avoiding quote-unquote normal food.
And even though people will call you a health nut.
It's survival. It's not being crazy.
You're obsessed and you're being unhealthy if you eat less than you're supposed to, and if you unnecessarily deprive yourself, and if you lack nutrition. You're not being obsessed and nuts if you go through great efforts to stick to a healthy food plan. And just because you're used to something and most of the people around you are doing something doesn't mean that it's normal. And just because something is so-called normal doesn't mean that you should subscribe to it. You know how some people are impressed when they eat cake and it's delicious?
Well, what do you expect? It's a drug.
Of course it's delicious. It's this notion that cake is normal that you're impressed that it's delicious. If you understood that it's not remotely normal, of course it's supposed to be delicious and you wouldn't be impressed.
Such a person who's impressed by cake being delicious is also the kind of person who does other normal things.
Yeah, like a certain guy Dudya and I know. It's not funny.
No, I know what you're talking about.
He stands in the back of the shul and he's normal. He doesn't say a word to you. He has nothing to tell you. But should you meet him outside of shul?
Oh.
You meet him in the supermarket? You're going to have to make a half-hour conversation.
About what? About family? About he's your best friend now.
And then, of course, you think you're done with him and you're heading home. And he's there holding the door open for you. You're still checking out and you have to hurry up and then run because he's holding the door open for you. And we credit him for being very normal because during Kabbalah Shabbos, you know exactly what harmonies he is going to be singing. So when the Chazan sings, Lecha Dahoidi,
He goes,
na,
na, na, na, na, na.
And you know which song he almost certainly walked down to under his chuppah.
V'zakeni. And his favorite food is going to be kibbeh because he's Ashkenaz, but he associates with all different cultures and ethnicities.
If he was my client and he gains weight and he says, what could I do? There was a platter of kibbeh.
Yeah,
I couldn't control myself.
He doesn't even know what kibbeh is. You bring out any food that he doesn't recognize. An Italian food, he'll ask, is that kibbeh? Because all he knows is he loves kibbeh.
I know. People who are normal like to show how they are very understanding of different cultures. They even overcompensate to the point where it starts looking ridiculous.
If he sees some Spanish-speaking workers, he'll say, mucho work today?
And the worker looks at him and says, huh?
He'll correct himself and say, mucho work go today?
Because that's the problem. No, the problem is that why are you trying to show off that you know one word in my native language? Of course, this guy, we're making a lot of assumptions about him. We don't know him that well, but...
Yeah, we know a couple of things about him, but we expanded it to make him more entertaining. But he's normal.
He's normal, and he uses food for entertainment.
Of course.
And he serves you cake and soda.
Does the cake taste good?
And the soda's delicious.
Soda, delicious soda, well, never better soda.
I know one thing for sure, and this is not projecting. We know exactly what he puts in his shalach manas.
Yep.
The wafer rolls that you never see during the year.
Where are they even? Do they keep them in secret vaults throughout the year?
The President and other company wafer rolls that everyone has to give on Purim. So he's all happy. He's all proud of his shalach manas. He has his President wafer roll, and he soups it up with a Reisman's Hamantash and a small Kedem grape juice. He's very normal.
Right, on Chalamoid, you know where he takes his family.
To the Bronx Zoo.
Right, and when he's there, he's showing his ability to communicate with those different from himself. When asked what an animal is called by a chassid who is nearby, he says with a big smile, kangaroo. Meanwhile, the correct pronunciation of that animal was antelope. That's this guy.
So the take-home message for today is, just because you're used to doing something, and just because the people around you are doing something, doesn't mean it's normal. And this toxic food environment is nothing close to normal. And we do have to be part of a society, and we do have to include these foods as part of our life. And we do have to associate with other people who have this incorrect mindset about food. But the default should not be these foods and this attitude about food. The default should be food that's good for you. Don't be like the guy from the back of the shul, doing normal things because they're normal. Be better than normal. Be sophisticated. It's not sophisticated to say, oh, this cake is delicious. Of course it's delicious. It's made out of flour, sugar, and oil. And being careful with your health, and for the most part, eating foods that other people consider not normal, like whole wheat bread instead of regular bread,
does not actually make you not normal. It makes you caring about your health.
And you are not a health nut despite what so-called normal people call you.
And that brings us to the end of this episode.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you join us next time.